Hi, in this video we're going to have a look at making our Funko Pop character, and we're going to start with making the head. So I think first thing we're going to do is delete the light and the camera. So I'm using Shift to select both of them, press X and delete. We're going to use the cube for the head. We need to have a reference image, and we need to probably have a view set up for this. So I'm going to press 1 on my number pad, not on the keypad, and that will change it into front orthographic view. Or alternatively, you could go to view, viewport and front. So we've got all the numbers here on the number pad listed for what they are. So front is 1 on your number pad, and we're going to be using that quite a lot. And if you want to come out of it, just use your mouse wheel. Now, normally, when objects are further away, they look smaller. And in perspective, you can see here, this square here, as we go back, it gets smaller and it appears smaller in the camera. When we're in an orthographic viewport, so it does say here orthographic, and this one says perspective. When you're in an orthographic view, all the lines from the camera are parallel. And what that means is things that are further away don't appear smaller. And that is really useful when you're working with a reference image, because you can scale things to the reference image without worrying about the distortion caused by how far away they are. So orthographic view is parallel to the camera. Okay, so let's get this reference image in. So we're going to go to add. Make sure you are in front view when you do this, otherwise your reference image might not be aligned properly. Image, reference, and then find your image. Cannot, no such file or directory. Let me try that again. Add image, reference, downloads. It's because I didn't click on it. It needs to appear in that bar. I thought I had, obviously not. Okay, so I've got my reference image. Now, your image is centered in terms of its size, but your character might not be in the center of the picture. So I don't think mine quite is either. If we look at the shoes, this shoe is a little bit, it's not off by very much, but you can see this shoe is closer to the line than this shoe. So I'm probably going to use this cube to help me align it. So I'm just going to click on the cube. Whoops. Click on the cube. Yeah, so I'm just looking at these eyes here, and you can see this cube is in the center, but the eyes are not in the center. So I'm going to click on my reference image, and I'm just going to move it slightly so it looks like there's the same amount of space on either side, and this should be lined up better. So mine was slightly off, and depending on how you've cropped your image, yours might be quite a way off, or it might not be off at all. So the first thing to do with a reference image is make sure it is centered. So my picture is centered rather than the actual frame, because the frame was centered but not the image. As you can probably see on mine, it's cropped so that this ear is nearer to the edge than this one. So that's what's caused my problem. So now we've got that set up, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the cube and press tab to go into edit mode. And in edit mode, I'm going to do a loop cut. Just click and then come off the loop cut. And then I'm going to press 3 to go into face select mode. And I'm just going to go around my object and select all of those 5 faces, and then press X to delete faces. And the reason we're doing this is we're going to do a mirror, and this will ensure that if we do any tweaks to the head, it will mirror it across to the other side just to keep it the same. Otherwise we'll have to do it twice and it might not be quite right. So I'm going to press tab to go into object mode again, and I'm going to go to the blue wrench and add a mirror modifier, and it's in the x-axis because the red axis that's the direction we want to mirror it. Okay, so now we've got the head. That looks okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press 1, and then I'm going to move it roughly into position. It's not too bad. And then I'm going to go to the wrench again, and then I'm going to add a subdivision surface modifier. So I'm going to probably use about 3 subdivisions. We don't want this character to be really high polygon. We want it to be a game ready asset. So we don't want it to have a million polygons. We want it to be realistic. You can turn this up and down while you're modeling, but 3 will give you the shape you need. If you want to have 4, you can. And I'm simply going to press S to scale, or you can choose scale up here. So I'm just going to press S to scale, and I'm going to get that roughly right. And then I'm going to press SX, and that will lock it to the x-axis. Or you could click on here and use the red handle here. So already that is not a bad shape from the front. You can actually click on X-ray mode here, and actually we can see that it's not bad. You know, thinking about, it's a little bit more rounded in some places, but overall it's not bad. And if it's way off, you might need to adjust your drawing again. You could probably see it a bit clearer now. You've got a head in place, but that's not too bad. We can improve it, but you could leave it there if you want. Now, one thing that is wrong with it is the width is not right. So I'm just going to use this green handle, or you could press SY, and that will lock it to the green axis. And I'm just going to scale the head in. So this is a matter of judgment for how wide you want the head. So there's no, you know, we've not got a reference image for the side, and you could put a reference image in if you could find a good one to match, or you could draw one up to match, and you'd align your reference image to this view and you'd make sure it matches with this one. So that's something I covered in my X-Wing video. Now the shape of this is not quite right, so you could leave yours like that. That is absolutely fine. If you want to try and get the shape a little bit more accurate, what we could do is press tab to go into the edit mode, and we could add a loop cut. So we could add loop cuts in different places. Let's add a loop cut going round, and you can see instantly that squared off the model quite a bit. So before we do anything else, it's changed the size obviously. So let's go back into object mode and do S to scale. I'm just going to scale it uniformly, and there we are. That's probably a better shape for a Funko Pop character. So I'm just going to go back into edit mode, and I'm considering whether to put another one here. I might try it, maybe here. So you need to press 1 so it's right. Now you'll notice it's at the top, it's definitely not right. So I'm probably gonna, I might undo that actually. I'm just trying to think of the way to get the best shape. What I might do, I might try clicking on, whoops, click off this. I never do that, it's something I always do wrong. Click off the loop cut tool. You can actually just click on this one line and raise that up a bit, and that will give it a bit of shape. So I'm pressing 1, and as you can see now, we're getting a bit more shape to the top of the head, but it's coming up here too much. So you can fiddle about with this a little bit on your own. So I'm just back in object mode. I'm going to scale it again, and you can fiddle about with this, and I could click on this loop and I could bring it in and bring it down, and you can actually get this to be exactly how you want it, and how you want it might be different to how other people want it. So what I'm doing is I'm clicking on the edge, and then I'm using my front view to then move it. So it's this one here where it's not coming down enough. So I'll click on this edge, and then I'm going back into front view, and I'm then bringing it down. So I think I'm happy with that shape, and you can adjust yours. You can put more loop cuts in or less loop cuts. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong to this. It's just how you feel you want to get the shape to the head. You might think it looks too blocky, you might not like the shape, and that's the important thing, that you like the shape of it. So I'm going to stick with that. So let's move on and put some eyes in this character. So I'm going to press tab to get into object mode and make sure I've clicked off of it. I'm then going to go to add mesh UV sphere. It's probably got enough polygons. Maybe it's got too many. Let me change it to I don't know, 20. Yeah, I'm going to change mine to 20. I think it's probably got too many polygons for what we actually need. What we're going to do is we'll bring this out so we can see it. Press S to scale it, and let's just move it roughly into place, and then we're going to add a modifier, add mirror modifier, and what we're going to do is we're going to click this pipette and click on the head, and that will be the mirror object. So we're using the head to actually create a mirror line down the middle, and then I'm going to press 1 to go into front view, and then I'm going to go into X-ray mode, which is Alt Z, and then I'm going to just S to scale, and then I'm just going to move them into position. When you're in front view and you move it with this circle, it will constrain it to the X and Z axis, so you won't be moving it forwards and backwards in space. So resize them to the size you want. Again, you could have smaller or larger eyes. It's not set in stone. There's no right or wrong to how you do this. Go back into solid mode. Now they might look a little bit weird, and as you move them in, what you'll notice is they might get a bit smaller. So you might be happy with it like this. That might be what you want, and there's certainly an advantage to doing it that way, because animating the eyelids would be much easier doing it with spheres. So you can use spheres. If you don't want to use spheres, what I would do is, when you clicked on your sphere, press S and Y, and that will lock the scaling to the y-axis, and just scale them in a bit like that. You could alternatively click up here and use the green handle. That would be the same thing. So now we've got these, we're going to then move them back. Now, because of the shape of the head, they won't fit perfectly, so you'll need to rotate them. So I'm going to rotate them on the Z axis, so I can press RZ and then rotate them a little bit. Just a tiny bit. So I think I'm going to leave mine like that. I'm just going to do one last check in the front view, so 1, and then Alt Z for X-ray mode. And then I'm just going to look. Yeah, I mean, they're still in the right place. I might make them slightly bigger. I think that's probably okay. Now, I'm just having a look. They're sticking into the face a little bit, so I want to rotate them a little bit forward. The way I'm going to do this is use the white circle, which is aligned to the camera. So I'm just going to tilt them forward a tiny little bit. I'm happy with that. We could be adjusting them all day, but that will do for now. So I think we'll say that's done for this video. In the next video, we'll do some ears and a nose, and then we'll tackle the body. So that's video 1. We've done the head. So thank you.